Hello, my beautiful friends. It's going to be your daily oracle message, and it's going to be a love reading, but not a love reading about romantic love. It's going to be a self-love reading. I kept hearing the song I Love Myself Today, not like yesterday. You know the song I mean? So originally I had two self-love decks that I was going to use. But first, I want to look at a wound first. So, it's okay. You're safe. So we're going to pull a card from this deck and see possibly what wound needs some love that's keeping you from loving yourself. So let's have a look. I'm actually only going to shuffle these once because there's not that many of them. All right. So, if you feel scared right now, it's okay. You are safe. Looking at wounds can be scary. We have self-sabotage. So, we talked about this with that that Jaguar card, right? Where when we don't look at our wounds, when we don't understand them, they grow and they become the masters of self-sabotage. So we end up self-sabotaging experiences, ourselves, relationships, friendships, because of these wounds that need healing. So that's an interesting one. Let me just look at that book, Sacred Shadows, for a minute, because I know there's a self-sabotage wound. If you're always waiting for the right time, you'll spend your whole life waiting. So perhaps, again, when I started this, I felt a little childhood trauma. Isn't that interesting? Because that's exactly what we're going to talk about. That's where these shadows and wounds come from, is from childhood trauma. And they keep us stuck. Look at the chains. They keep us weighed down. They have power over us. And again, when I started this reading and I said, we're going to look at a wound, I immediately felt like, oh no. So self-sabotage is the unconscious resistance to your own growth, the part of you that hesitates, procrastinates, or creates obstacles just as you begin to move forward. It convinces you that you are not ready, that success will come with consequences, that failure is inevitable, so why risk it? This wound often forms from past disappointments, fear of rejection, or deeply ingrained beliefs that happiness and success are not safe. It manifests as overthinking, perfectionism, avoiding opportunities, or even creating chaos in moments of progress. The real fear is not failure, it is change. Healing self-sabotage requires learning to recognize fear without obeying it. Growth will never feel comfortable, but discomfort is not danger, it is expansion. You do not have to wait until you feel fully ready, because readiness is built in motion. When you stop expecting failure and start believing in your own resilience, you step out of your own way. You are not meant to live in cycles of hesitation, you are meant to rise. And the moment you stop holding yourself back, you realize you were capable all along. A deeply ingrained tendency to undermine one's own success, happiness, or personal growth, often rooted in fear, unresolved trauma, or conditioned beliefs about worthiness. This wound manifests as procrastination, perfectionism, or self-destructive habits, pushing away opportunities and relationships that can lead to fulfillment, or staying in unhealthy relationships. Some may struggle with the internalized belief that success will bring disappointment, judgment, or additional pressure, leading them to subconsciously create obstacles for themselves. Others may fear failure so intensely that they avoid trying to get altogether, staying in a cycle of stagnation rather than risking discomfort. There may be a pattern of making progress only to backtrack. Oh my gosh. Backtracked. Oh dear. I've completely lost my line. Whether through self-doubt, impulsive decisions, or tolerating toxic situations that reinforce old wounds. Emotionally, this wound can create frustration, low self-esteem, and cycles of regret. It may manifest as fatigue, digestive issues, or tension in the legs. Over time, unresolved self-sabotage patterns can result in missed opportunities, chronic dissatisfaction, and a deep disconnection from one's true potential. Watch for patterns of avoiding success, fear of visibility, or making choices that reinforce limiting beliefs. So, we're going to get a wound here and see what's happening. All right, what wound do we need to peek at today with love and care? Let's water that jaguar. All right, so we have hyper-independence. Interesting. Also fear of abandonment, but I already, we read about that the first, like when I used this deck before. But hyper-independence was the only one upright. I thought it would be here in this book. Interesting. I thought it would be in this book. Hang on 1 minute. All right, I'm back. So I wanted to know, I was just looking through my stuff to see what archetype this is connected to, the childhood archetypes that I've been talking about. This is connected to attachment archetypes, and it's actually connected to like 5 of them. I'm going to read 2 of them. So the first one I wanted to read is the parentified child. I learned to hold everything together. So, how it shows up in love or relationships. I'm not just talking about romantic love. This part often shows up as responsibility. You become the steady one, the calm one, the one who makes sure everything stays okay. You may notice things like taking responsibility for emotional harmony, prioritizing your partner's or friend's needs before your own, feeling uncomfortable receiving help or care. I'm so bad at that one. I suck at asking for help, and then I feel guilty when somebody tries to help me. Like I feel this extreme guilt. I'm still working through this wound. Anticipating problems before they happen, becoming the mediator during conflict, feeling responsible for another person's emotional state. You might catch yourself thinking, if I stay calm, everything will be okay. They need support right now. I don't want to add any more stress. You may naturally step into the role of emotional caretaker, supporting, stabilizing, holding the relationship together. Over time, this can leave you feeling unseen, exhausted, and unsure of how to ask for support yourself. The parentified child protects connection by carrying the emotional weight alone. And again, this can stem from the abandoned child, the invisible child, the orphan child, the neglected child, and then the parentified child. So the parentified child forms when a child learns, consciously or unconsciously, that their role is to stabilize the emotional environment around them. Instead of being cared for, the child becomes the one who cares. This does not always happen through obvious responsibility. Often it happens quietly. A child senses that their feelings create stress or conflict or overwhelm for the adults around them. So the nervous system adapts. Attention moves outward. Safety becomes linked to usefulness. Love becomes connected to responsibility. Worth begins to feel tied to how well the child supports others. The parentified child survives through competence. Where other parts ask, will someone take care of me? This part learns something different. I must take care of everyone else. This adaptation is often praised. The child appears mature, reliable, wise beyond their years. But maturity that develops too early often carries invisible exhaustion. The parentified child does not stop needing care. It simply learns not to ask for it. I can feel someone's energy like, you're calling me out. I'm calling you out with love. I'm calling myself out. How it forms. This archetype forms when emotional or practical responsibility becomes heavier than a child's nervous system was meant to carry. Like, look at that. Caregivers may have been emotionally overwhelmed or dysregulated, dependent on the child for comfort or stability, inconsistent in providing emotional support, dealing with illness, stress, or trauma, unavailable because of work, conflict, or personal struggles, unintentionally leaning on the child for emotional balance. The child senses instability and adapts instinctively. Instead of expressing vulnerability, the nervous system organizes around maintaining harmony. Emotional awareness sharpens. The child begins noticing what others need before it is spoken. The internal learning becomes, my feelings are less important. I must stay strong. If I help enough, things will stay safe. Identity begins forming around reliability. I am the strong one. I do not cause problems. I help others cope. This adaptation creates empathy and resilience, but it also teaches the nervous system that receiving care feels unfamiliar. The parentified child grows up knowing how to support others, but not always how to be supported. When in shadow, responsibility turns into self-abandonment. You may suppress your needs until resentment builds. I talk about this in my love readings, overgiving. Vulnerability can feel uncomfortable because strength has become part of your identity. The shadow parentified child may overfunction in relationships, feel guilty resting or needing support. Ouch! Ow! Avoid sharing emotional struggles. Attract partners that heavily rely on you. Believe that love must be earned through effort. There's often a hidden belief underneath. If I stop holding everything together, it will fall apart. You may feel safer being needed than being known. Giving replaces receiving. Competence replaces intimacy. The wound here is not carrying too much. It is learning that care was the price of belonging. When it is in light, when this archetype begins to heal, compassion becomes balanced. Your empathy remains, but is no longer fueled by survival. You support others without abandoning yourself. In this state, care becomes mutual instead of one-sided. Boundaries feel compassionate rather than selfish. Vulnerability becomes possible. Support flows in both directions. Rest feels safe instead of guilt-inducing. You learn that relationships do not collapse when responsibility is shared. You begin allowing yourself to receive care without proving your worth first. Strength transforms from endurance into balance. The parentified child does not lose its wisdom. It simply learns it no longer has to carry everything alone. So when this shadow is activated within you, and I've been talking about this, how the way we heal these things is we start to recognize when it's being activated within us. And again, just the knowledge of these attachment wounds, identity wounds, they create self-awareness. Like for myself, I'm starting to notice when I'm feeling triggered or when I'm feeling emotionally dysregulated, I'm learning to say, oh, that's the innocent child, or oh, that's the neglected child within me. And it helps you understand. So when this part is activated, activation often feels like pressure to fix, to manage, to stabilize. You may notice urgency to resolve emotional tension, difficulty tolerating another person's distress, taking responsibility for problems that are not yours, ding, 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 suppressing your own feelings to keep peace, ding, 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 exhaustion paired with continued overgiving, ding, 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 ding. When activated, pause before stepping into caretaker mode. Not every emotion around you belongs to you. This moment is asking for shared regulation, not self-sacrifice. So, how to heal in the moment. Begin by acknowledging internally, a part of me believes I must hold everything together right now. Bring awareness back to your body. Notice tension in your shoulders, your chest, your stomach. Slow your breathing, then gently ask, is this mine to carry? Practice small shifts. Pause before offering solutions. Express one honest feeling. Allow silence without filling it. Let others manage their own emotions. The goal is not withdrawing care. The goal is allowing care to include you. You are not failing anyone by sharing responsibility. You are restoring balance. Long-term healing involves redefining worth beyond usefulness. You begin practicing receiving without immediately giving something back. You allow others to support you without feeling indebted. Over time, your nervous system learns something new. I am loved for who I am, not only for what I provide. You begin noticing exhaustion earlier. You express needs sooner. You choose relationships where emotional effort is shared. So think about it, this hyper-independence. It's reminding me of that inconsistent, like, overgiving, someone else taking kind of energy. So it's like you attract in connections where you're the overgiver and you want them to give you love, but they don't. And because this wound is here, that triggers you. Anyway. Gradually, safety expands beyond responsibility. You remain compassionate and capable, but belonging no longer depends on how much you carry or give. You learn that rest can exist alongside love. A message for you. You learn to be strong because strength once protected everyone around you. Your care was never excessive. It was love expressed through survival. You stepped into responsibility long before you were meant to carry it. Healing does not ask you to stop caring. It asks you to stop carrying alone. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to need. You are allowed to be supported without earning it. Love does not become fragile when responsibility is shared. It becomes sustainable. The parentified child does not need to disappear. It only needs permission to finally be held too. So, before I read the next one, which I'm still not sure which one I'm going to read, I want to get you a self-care card. Look at what's on the bottom. Practice self-care. Serve others, but don't neglect your own needs. You can't give what you don't already have. Replenish your cup. Attend to yourself. I read this card in one of the first, when I started doing these daily oracles a couple weeks ago, I read this card. So that is magic. Break free. Break free from these chains that keep you stuck. My hope is that other people can learn. You're watching this, so you probably, some of you might still struggle with looking at your wounds or your shadows. But You heard me when I was reading that. I was like, guilty, guilty, guilty. There's no shame in it. And it helps you understand yourself better. And it helps you work towards loving yourself, coming into wholeness with yourself, inner union. And it happens, I have to say, it happens very quietly. I always thought, like, what's it going to feel when I love myself? What's it going to feel like when I'm in inner union with myself? And it's kind of like your kid's growing or a puppy growing. You don't see a drastic change. It happens slowly over time. And I think that's why I've like really become so passionate about healing and about doing readings where I talk about healing. Anyway, plus, I've been spending time learning about all these things, and I want to share because it improves your life. All right. Shuffle, shuffle. Remember your purpose as I'm talking about like mission or how I want to help people. All right. Set boundaries. Exactly. Honor and hold your own physical and emotional space. Only you can do this effectively. Respect your feelings and allow others theirs. It's funny because it's like I've been teaching my kids about setting boundaries, because for me, when I was super unhealed, still working on it, I would carry the emotional weight, or I wouldn't set boundaries. And then I would continue to put myself in the path. It's like standing in the middle of the road and then being confused why a truck hit you, Or touching something sharp and wondering, why did that hurt? Maybe that's a bad example. But I would continuously put myself in situations where I was being hurt, and I would shrink, and I wouldn't speak up about my needs, and I would like overgive. And I would wonder, why does this person keep hurting me? Why do I keep attracting this type of energy? Why can't this person blah, 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 blah? And that's when I learned an important lesson of boundaries. Because what we're willing to accept is how we tell others how to treat us. And someone can't continuously take advantage of us or mistreat us if we set boundaries. The hard part is honoring those boundaries ourselves. A lot of us struggle with boundaries because of these wounds, because of fear of rejection, because of fear of abandonment, because of fear of giving up hope. But boundaries are important. Boundaries are a form of self-care. All right, one card. What do you need to hear? Know you are safe. Didn't I say that to you? Didn't I say that to you when I said you're safe here? You are safe. And you're safe to look at these patterns. It's not, like I said one day, look, I looked at my shadow and I didn't burst into flames. Like some people are so resistant and they fear it. Protection is always available to you. You have all the resources that you need, both within you and around you. So you can protect your energy. You deserve to protect your energy and to put up boundaries. And learning about these things, being aware of them, sitting with yourself during those moments of activation also help keep you protected. Because when you respond from a triggered place, you open yourself up to keep getting hurt. All right. See your life in a new way. There's no need to fear the macabre, I don't even know what that word is. the morbid, or the unknown. Fear arises when we're afraid of losing something to which we're attached. Attachment wound. This is an attachment wound. We often forget that we came into this world with nothing but our skeleton, our flesh, our meat suits, our mind, and our spirit, all of which were gifted to us. Let go of that which does not serve you. Put that bag down. And that's what it's like when you're wounded, when you have all these shadows. It's like you're carrying around a bunch of really heavy bags on your back. The physical body and its capacity for pain will continue to teach us much about self-care and the sensations of our physical existence. That is why the body is a gift in itself. It is natural to be attached to and identified by your body, but it is also useful to remember that you were never given any challenges that you cannot handle. Visualize or invoke energetic protection whenever you need it, as it is always available to you. You just have to be open to receiving it. It's interesting because I send you guys energetic protection. I'm showing my weirdness. But someone once taught me how to visualize, like sending, like placing an energetic field over the people you love to help keep them protected. Right? So I think about you guys when I do that. And I'll always step in and be that big sister and defend you if you need it. I'm always in your corner. If you are feeling insecure about your physical, emotional, or spiritual safety, imagine a protective energy bubble around you. Yes. And or that you're being protected by your spirit guides, guardian angels, or other protective beings. Alternatively, you can ask for or visualize invisibility when it comes to those who would do you harm. After your visualization or request, have faith that you are protected. Decide that you are worthy of protection and boundaries and living in safety, and let your energy and actions flow naturally from there. Look at the difference in these two images. They're very similar, right? This one carrying the weight of that. This one protecting their energy, releasing those ropes, wings growing. I sound like I'm absolutely cuckoo. And I don't even care. I don't even care. All right, I'm going to get you one of these as well. Self-love oracle. One card from my beautiful bestie. What do you need to hear today? I keep hearing, I love myself today. Soul lesson, nobility, aura chakra. Look at the protection. Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. April 29th could be symbolic. February 9th could be symbolic. September 2nd. Hold on. All right, I'm going to read it. April 29th, 4/29. But anyway, protect pure love and hope. There's a lot about protection here. Stop trying to hold it all. This card comes to guide you to command your field, clear your aura, and surround yourself with resounding love. When your aura is clear of subconscious garbage and filled with the highest virtues, you attract positively charged energy. And that subconscious garbage is another word for programming, for long lifelong lifelong ingrained behaviors. Wounds. Your aura is your home. You live in it your whole life, and those who come close to you also share this space. Your aura provides protection against disease and negative environmental influences while also projecting your intentions into the world. A powerful 8th chakra is noble like gold, automatically deflecting and filtering negative influences and radiating magnetic vibrancy. Your aura can be kept clean and enriching, comforting, nurturing, powerful, and inspiring. Those in your company will feel these positive energies coming from you. Our aura becomes weak if we behaved in a diminished way, and we also become vulnerable to viruses and the negative and aggressive attitudes of others. Your opportunity when working with the aura is to ensure that you maintain a noble attitude even when under extreme pressure. When you behave like in a noble manner and radiate your best qualities, you will feel happy within yourself, and what you project will also benefit others. You have been stirred to raise awareness into your heart, and your inner truth is becoming hard to ignore. You know intuitively that you must align even more with your heart's wisdom and truth so that you can project this powerful unified energy through your aura and into the world. In your heart, you know you came here with a unique purpose, a wonderful contribution to co-create in this golden era. So what was happening when I was going, hang on a second. Spirit was telling me to read a different card. So what was the card I was being called to read about? Root chakra. I'm going to read it. It was number 4. So the fact that we had 4 caught my eye. And also 4 is the energy of protection. So there's a lot about protecting your energy here. You came to Earth to connect with her rich and creative tapestry of life and weave your colors through it. This card comes as guidance that you would benefit now with some grounding practices and alignment with nature's cycles so that you can embody your highest potential. When you connect to the earth and its cycles and rhythms, you are connecting to the gift of change, which serves your expansion. The crystalline grid of earth, the song lines, the elements, the moon cycles, the solstices and seasons hold the power of evolutionary change. So the other night when we had that eclipse, I was actually like, I was up all night. And then I had gone to bed and I slept for 2 hours and set my alarm to wake up my son because he really wanted to see it. And while it was happening, I was kind of like journaling and reflecting about it. And I looked up the meaning of it spiritually, and it can be a sign that it's time to finally heal these patterns that keep us stuck so that we can take that baggage, right, off of us, that heaviness off of us. Each solstice and equinox offers huge potential for shifts in awareness, release from the past, deep healing, and energy activation. The less frequent solar and lunar eclipses offer exponential opportunity for evolution. The planets that transit Earth, you know what? I finally know why I'm having a hard time speaking. Mercury in retrograde, or Mercury retrograde. Mercury is in retrograde. I kept wondering, like, what is wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with me. I'm imperfect, and that's lovely. Deep healing and, wow, I already read that. The less frequent solar and lunar eclipses offer exponential opportunity for evolution. The planets that transit Earth circulate energy through this time space to stretch and shape every individual's reactions and responses to life. Understanding these cycles in relation to your natal chart offers great insights for opening and healing the chakras. The seasons, Millie is saying, hello, bark. The seasons create a cycle starting with birth at spring to summer celebration, autumn letting go, and the death in winter. Opportunities to grow, shed, rebirth, to accept and enjoy the temporary nature of life are infinitely offered. All right, so what one do I want to read you? I'm just going to read one more. Let's have a look. Which one? Yeah, see, even the orphan child, struggling to ask for help, minimizing your needs, feeling safest when you rely on yourself. Let me just look here. I was being called to the invisible one. So, this is an identity archetype. Who did I become in order to survive? So the first one was an attachment archetype. This is an identity archetype. Invisible child. I learned not to take up space. How it shows up in love. This part often shows up as quietness. That's what I was always told. Why are you so quiet? You're so quiet, Kelly. Not because you don't have thoughts or feelings, but because something in you learned that expressing them might create tension, right? Or setting boundaries or speaking up about your needs or telling someone how they hurt you. It's not because, oh, I already read that. You may notice things like hesitating before sharing opinions or needs, adapting quickly to others' preferences, feeling uncomfortable being the center of attention, ding, 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 which is hilarious because I have a YouTube channel, but I don't like being the center of attention. Waiting for permission to express feelings, downplaying achievements or struggles, feeling unseen even when loved. That's probably also connected to the neglected child, because feeling unseen, even when loved, comes from a neglect wound. You might catch yourself thinking, it's not important, they matter more, I don't want to make this about me. You may become deeply attuned to your partner's inner world while remaining partially hidden in your own. Conflict can trigger withdrawal instead of expression. Needs may stay unspoken until distance quietly forms. The invisible child protects connection by becoming smaller. What this archetype is, the invisible child forms when a child learns that being fully seen feels unsafe, unnecessary, or disruptive. Unlike the neglected child, whose emotions were not mirrored, the invisible child adapts by reducing visibility intentionally. Walking on eggshells. The child senses that attention creates tension. So safety becomes linked to smallness. Needs soften. Opinions quiet. Mercury is messing up my speech more so than it usually is. Presence becomes careful. The invisible child survives through disappearance. Where the other parts ask, will they notice me? This part decides it may be safer if they don't. This is not lack of personality. It is adaptive self-protection. Do you know what's really interesting? When I started talking to my friend Michelle, I had a really hard time telling her, hey, how are you? This is what's going on with me. I would always be like, hey, how are you? And she would answer me. And I'd be like, oh yeah, how did that feel? Actually, this is a common problem with me, where I kind of ask, like, I always say asking people how they are, things about them is my love language. It is. And I think unconsciously, I'm searching for people to want to do the same for me, but everybody has different love languages. And like I said, when I first started talking to Michelle, she called me out. Good friend, will call you out. Not in a mean way, but I think she noticed that she would ask me how I was, and I would be like, I'm good. And then I would start, talking about whatever she told me, or I would ask her something about her. I'm not even sure if she remembers this. I remember it. And she told me, there was one day that she messaged me and she said, I want to know about you too. You can share with me what's going on for you too. And I wasn't used to that in a friendship. So I would be going through like really hard times and I wouldn't tell her. And she noticed that. Good friend. Another connection that I had, I knew everything about their inner world. Like I asked them, I just wanted to know them. I asked them about their life. I asked them about how things were going, how this was, blah, 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 blah. And then when I'm being vulnerable here, I'm reflecting. When I actually worked up the courage to say, I would really like it if you would ask things about me. I feel like you don't know me. Why is it that you don't want to know about me? I triggered the shit out of that person. And they told me and again, I feel like my wound triggered one of their wounds. And they told me, there's no time. You're always asking these questions. It feels like an interrogation. I feel like I'm being interviewed. It's like, I'm sorry, I just wanted to know you. You know what I mean? And that's what I mean about how sometimes we attract friendships that are supposed to reflect back to us things we need to work on, things we need to heal, parts of ourselves that we're hiding. Anyway, enough about me. Parentified child, or is this invisible child? I'm just about to call myself out. This is what I mean. You start to, that's that wound or archetype. Right here. I don't want to make this about me. I immediately felt guilty for sharing. Right? And I don't always mention that, but it's still there. I'm working on it. I'm working on not mentioning it. I'm working on working through that trigger, that activation. But because we're talking about this, I wanted to point it out to you that anytime I share, I feel that activated within me. And now that I'm aware of it, it doesn't control me. It doesn't make me stay silent. Anyway, I don't want to make this about me. So let's get back to it. All right. Where other parts ask, will they notice me? This part decides it may be safer if they don't. This is not lack of personality. It is adaptive self-protection. Formed in childhood. The child learns to observe rather than express, to accommodate rather than initiate, to belong without occupying space. The invisible child does not stop existing. It learns to exist quietly. I think I've mentioned this, but whenever I run it, when I was a photographer, I would have clients come to me and I would be like, oh my gosh, I went to junior high with you. And they would be like, really? I don't remember you. And it happened constantly. I went through most of my life being unseen, staying small, silent, blending in, chameleon perform. Anyway, it's one of these archetypes, which I'm not going to talk about today. And it really stems from how I grew up, where if I had needs, that was unacceptable. If I had emotion, that was unacceptable. If I was laughing, that was unacceptable. Anyway, how it forms. I don't want to make this about me. No, I'm not going to give that part of me power. The archetype often forms in environments where emotional space feels limited. Caregivers or surroundings may have been dominated by strong personalities or conflict, focused on another sibling's needs or crises, I don't know. Emotionally volatile or unpredictable, check. Intolerant of emotional expression, check. Overwhelmed, leaving little room for individuality. Subtly discouraging attention towards the child. What? Did you hear my kid? What? The child senses that visibility creates disruption. Rather than competing for attention, the nervous system adapts by withdrawing from it. Oh my gosh. Okay, good. I just had this fear that I never hit record. The internal learning becomes my needs complicate things. So like in that situation where I was talking about, where I was finally going to say, why don't you ever ask about me? I was so scared to say it because anytime I spoke about my needs, there was conflict. I was told I was wanting too much, expecting too much. And again, that is my childhood. And that's what I mean about these parts of us want to be healed. So it's like we subconsciously attract in or seek out the same kind of dynamics so that we can finally heal them. All right. Identity development becomes internal. The child becomes highly perceptive, noticing others' emotions quickly, adapting behavior to maintain peace, minimizing personal impact. The invisible child forms not only through rejection, but through learning that presence must be carefully managed. So really not being your authentic self, right? My kid is laughing. I know it sounds like crying, but that's a laugh. When it is in shadow, invisibility becomes disconnection from identity. Exactly. You may struggle to know what you truly want because preferences have long been shaped around others. You might notice patterns like avoiding expressing needs entirely, feeling overlooked in relationships repeatedly, struggling with decision-making, minimizing accomplishments, tolerating emotional imbalance silently, feeling lonely while surrounded by others. There may be a quiet belief underneath, my presence is optional. You may wait to be invited rather than stepping forward naturally. What? Do people actually step forward to be invited to things? Well, just think about that example that I told you about conversation, right? I had a fear of stepping forward and saying, here's how I am. And I was waiting for the person to reciprocate it. But then when I expressed it, it did not go down well. Now that I think about it, I still feel guilt when I talk to Michelle about myself. Anyway, whenever I connect with you guys in these healing readings, layers. There's so many layers to go through. They start I start processing and having realizations in real time. The wound is not lack of self-worth. It is learning that visibility felt unsafe. When it is in light, expression feels natural rather than intrusive. Boundaries emerge gently but clearly. Visibility feels safe instead of exposing. Connection includes mutual recognition. Presence feels grounded rather than performative. You begin learning that taking up space does not remove space from others. You begin allowing yourself to be witnessed. The invisible child does not become loud, it just becomes visible. So when this part is activated, you might notice it feels like shrinking internally. So you might notice difficulty speaking up, hesitation before sharing thoughts, withdrawing during emotional conversations, minimizing feelings automatically, feeling smaller or less important. This response is not weakness. It is learned safety strategy. You do not need to force visibility suddenly. Safety grows through gradual expression. And in that sense, I have to thank you guys, because it took me a long time on my channel to like be authentic. And when I first started, I really was like shrinking myself. And you guys gave me a safe space to be myself. And I didn't need that validation, but it's like a muscle. Every time I made a mistake, or I stumbled over my words, or I got confused, or I shared a personal story, you guys made it a safe space for me. And that grew. It grew like one of those, like the seed in the never-ending story, the grain of sand. And that's why it's so important to align yourself with people who are safe for you to do that. Okay, so share one honest, I can't even remember where I am. Allow your body to occupy space intentionally. Practice one small act of visibility. Share one honest opinion. State a preference. Allow yourself to finish speaking. Remain present when attention turns towards you. Maybe this is why I got so triggered when my partner cut me off that day. Because I was like trying to speak and I couldn't finish speaking, and it like activated this part of me. Visibility does not require performance. It requires permission. Long-term healing. Healing involves rebuilding identity through safe visibility. You begin noticing your own desires and preferences before adapting to others. Over time, the nervous system learns, my presence does not create harm. I am allowed to be seen. Connections deepen when I participate fully. You begin choosing relationships where curiosity about you exists naturally. You do not lose sensitivity, you gain presence. A message for you. You learn to become quiet because quiet once felt safe. Your sensitivity was never weakness. It was intelligence responding to emotional complexity. You were never meant to disappear inside your own life. Your voice does not take away from others. Your presence does not create a burden. Your needs do not disrupt love. You are allowed to be seen. And if you can't speak up about your needs, then that's not a safe connection for you. If you have to be invisible, that's not a safe connection for you or a safe space for you. Anyway, thank you for listening. Here comes the activated guilt. Here it comes. I know I don't mention it to you guys, but I can feel it coming. So, that's that book I've been working on. It's gone to publishing, editing and publishing, whatever, which is scary. So let's get you, we got 2 of these cards. I want to keep it balanced. So I'm going to pull, look at me. I'm going to pull one more card for you. Oh, I just lost all sense of time when I sat down to do this reading. June 14th could be symbolic. Oh well. That's how you know your soul is happy, when you lose sense of time. I could get it even crazier. Time is an illusion. They made it to control us. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's get one more card from my beautiful friend. My beautiful, brave friend. Dance. Practice acceptance. So I will talk about this, although this was another one that we read about in that same reading that I mentioned. This is about dancing and raising your vibration. And you don't have to be a good dancer. If you're afraid of doing it in front of people because you get embarrassed, do it somewhere where people can't see you. Dance. Dance Monkey. I'm hearing that song. But yeah, so important. I like to dance in my bathroom. So practice acceptance. The heart wants to give and do it all, but everyone has limitations. Accept help. Ooh, so yeah, Spirit's calling us out. Keep doing it. I used to get really defensive when somebody would call me out, you know? And now I'm like, yeah, give me more. The heart wants to give and do it all, but everyone has limitations. Accept help when needed. Not everything is being asked of you. How perfect is that? It's chef's kiss magic. Absolute magic. You know what? 43. Love you. Love you. Do you know what? I was procrastinating today. And I was looking up, I'm a Taurus. You know it's going to be about food. You know I'm obsessed with macaroons. I can't call them their real, well, I can, macarons, but the name Ron triggers me. So I like to call them macaroons. And I'm not talking about macaroons. I'm talking about French macarons. Anyway, I'm always looking for places that have them because they're hard to find where I am. Anyway, they're hard to find where I am. And I thought I found a place, but now they're like acting kind of like sketchy. So I went on and looked up macaroons. And the first thing that popped up, I've never seen this bakery before. I think it's in Canada. And I don't even remember what it's called. But their main page was like send time or looking to send, or what did it say? I can't remember. Something about sending gourmet treats to the one you love. And I was like, it was so weird. Again, it happens in quiet moments when you start to love yourself. But I looked at it and I thought, I love myself. I'm going to buy myself some macaroons. Where years ago, there's no way I would have done that. There's no way. The card offers a chance to pause and ask if you are overextending yourself. A commitment to serving others is always commendable. However, there are times when what you are giving away needs to be dialed back, either because your efforts are not being reciprocated or because they are blocking someone else from their own growth and development. Those of us who are empathetic, generous, and compassionate easily fall into relationships that can be one-sided, like the synchronicities, right? And we feel like we can heal the other person. But what's really happening, like we can't heal them if they don't want to heal. And maybe that means something within us needs to heal. If we are paying too high a price to care for another and neglecting our own physical and emotional needs, at some point this debt will need to be repaid, and often at a higher cost than the relationship is worth. Instead of waiting for someone else who has their own agenda and soul journey to fulfill your expectations, you are invited to stop chasing an external result. Shift your focus back to yourself and what you need at this moment in time, allowing the other person to continue on their own life's path unencumbered. I need to send this to all my divine feminines. Find ways to give yourself what you need, whether it's finding new supportive friends, letting go of an unhealthy one-sided relationship, giving yourself regular time and space to recharge, or making bigger changes altogether, like moving on to a new community or job. It is important to accept our limitations and our own wishes. This helps us to become wiser in managing our time and energy. And then right after, set boundaries. So somebody needed to hear this message. It was all very much connected, wasn't it? Am I really going to lay this out perfectly as I say goodbye? Yes, I am. Semi-perfect. All right, my friends. You know what I just heard? I heard, love your imperfections. They make you beautiful. That's what I just heard. Anyway, I love you guys so much. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yes, that was my teenager yelling, screaming, squealing, what the F in the background after I said, I love you guys so much. What the fuck? Anyway, they're having a good time, right? They're not afraid of being visible. And that makes my healing worth it. Anyway, I'm getting emotional. I better go. Anyway, my friends, I love you so much, and I'm sending you a big protective bubble. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.